Okay, so when we last continued with this game, we went to the festival with Omen, and we hung out with everybody else, and then when a monster's chasing us, I think it was like the monster responsible for the murders, we ran into Omen and we kissed him. We finally confessed to him, and I think we're dating now. But that doesn't mean I'm not stopping on the love quest. Oh no, I'm still dating Alcar too, because we gotta make this polycule happen. Strangely, I wake with a smile on my face. Despite meeting the thing that's been wreaking havoc on this town, and despite the fact that it rendered me useless, I'm happy. Feels wrong, but I can't ignore the way my chest aches when I think of Omen. When I think about kissing him, ooh, we smooched. I laugh. I feel so much lighter somehow. Though I can't shake the feeling of that thing staring me down and sizing me up. I think of all the creatures I've encountered in my time as a hunter, and it must feel like there's something I'm missing. Is it a hybrid? A new species? We were always taught that it's unrealistic to believe that we've discovered every kind of creature that roams the earth. The realms that separate us from them can tear every day new horrors are brought upon us. I think, like, the monster is maybe an experiment by one of the twins. Not the boy one, because he's dating Omen's sister, but the girl one, the one that's, like, really sus. Yeah. I'm for sure thinking it's like a science experiment by her or something like that, or like witchcraft, I don't know. With great effort, I drag myself from the relative comfort of my bed and stare out over a surprisingly sunny Lunaris. Take a seat at my desk and decide to take a moment to observe the stolen notes that Ezra had kindly handed over. What I've tried, consumed everything. Something damaged beyond restoration. Magical fire can't reconstruct. Anise and skeletal flower doesn't work. Perhaps a memory spell to recall the events of death. Gemstone or rune stone should suffice. No good. It's as if the body doesn't remember the soul's essence at all. A creature that traces its own life force. It's so strange. Perform ritual on crescent moon. Scrying's a fair shot, but at this point, I've exhausted my options with the corpse. And she deserves a burial net by now. Used in an extract from the flowers and a spell to question. To a certain, she was terrified. She was well terrified. I can't fucking read! Before her death, but nothing more. Can't even tell if it's a death by burning or other injuries. I'm stumped. I scanned in this drawing, seeing a truly talented witch being so completely and utterly perplexed. I can practically feel frustration rolling off the page. Oh, okay. If I was gonna know that it was gonna read it, then I wouldn't have bothered trying to fuck up my brain with this handwriting. I'm just gonna skip this then. Then finally, the page torn where he's pressed so hard with his quill. I'm stumped. The complete lack of an intact body would have certainly made his job hard, but a witch of Ezra's skill can cast many spells to determine the cause of death. But all he encountered was failed spell after failed spell. I set them aside. I have no time today to delve any deeper. Now it's time to write my report for last night. This should be interesting. I check the conveniently placed clock outside of August's office door and take a deep breath. As if I raise my fist to knock, I hear a crash. Our fur go knocking, pushing the door open to rush inside and check that everything is okay. I scan the room, seeing no August, but then I see a pair of feet sticking out from behind the desk, then hear a string of muttered curses in language I don't recognize. August? They pop up. Their hair is a mess, and they have a dark bags under their eyes. Excuse me, my general. The buttons on your shirt are kind of like undone. It looks kind of messy with like the shirt popping up like that, and like all these buttons right there. Do you want me to like unbutton them so I can like make it look better? Yui, is it 9 already? I nod, clocking that their clothes are wrinkled, which is odd. Very odd. Wait, did you sleep here? They let out a quick, sharp burst of laughter that seemed suspiciously nervous.
Did I fall asleep in my office? Don't be preposterous.
August. I stare them down, unconvinced. August. They cover their mouth with their hand, coughing quietly.
Yep. Yes, I did.
Yep. Can't hide from me, bitch. I had a lot on my mind. I nod understanding, itching to tell them about my encounter, but almost not wanting to burden them with yet another thing. There's a little incident last night in the woods. An incident, you say? Come, sit. I take a deep breath and follow them to their desk. I believe I encountered the creature. The creature as in the creature? Yes. Their pale skin gets lighter somehow, and they take a deep, shuddering breath.
Are you okay? And how are you okay, if so? Some of our best hunters have perished by its hand.
Well, about that. I settle in the comfortable chair opposite of them. My mind is reeling as I think about how the hell I'm going to explain this. Firstly, don't think I'm crazy, okay? Okay. They don't seem convinced, but I continue regardless. James has been communicating with me somehow. It's like I can hear him, feel him, as if he's been right beside me. Their expression remains neutral, that perfectly arched brow raised high. I assume that their silence means that they wish for me to continue. It's happened a few times, the most recent being last night. I'm pretty sure he's the reason I'm sitting here right now. He snapped me out of whatever thrall that thing had me under. They process what I've just said with an unreadable expression, and I wait with bated breath, unable to get a read on their aura. I think it's starting to stop raining now, too. Good. Are they going to laugh in my face? Tell me I'm insane? I see. Well, I'm glad that he decided to help you, Yui. To think of what might have become of you had you not, I'd rather not imagine. I pause, my mouth agape. I'm perplexed, not even a flinch? You seem rather calm. I expected... They raise their hand.
A lot of things that happen in our world are out of the ordinary, and we can't possibly explain every unusual occurrence.
Fair enough. I mean, I am dating a demon now, so...
Ghosts are certainly not the strangest thing we deal with. There have been many recorded cases of people claiming they've been contacted by the dead.
If Hunter Lane has somehow managed to communicate with you, then so be it. We can question it and attempt to understand if you wish, but... I consider that statement, deciding that yet another thing to add to the list would be a hindrance to us all. That won't be necessary. You felt fine during all of this? Nothing ails you when you experience this connection? I grimace and August notices.
You do well to tell me, Hunter.
I've been getting headaches, pretty intense ones. There's a lingering ache in my temple almost constantly, and it flares up whenever he's near. They press their fingers to their lips, looking at me thoughtfully. May I? Go ahead. If you don't mind. I nod, trusting them to do what they have to do. Just close your eyes, it won't hurt. I oblige our feel a distinct crackle in the air, the smell of ozone thick in my nostrils, the hairs on the back of my neck and arms stand, and I dare peek at my enforcer. Their eyes are closed too, their hands hovering carefully above my head and glowing a vibrant aquamarine. Closed. With a quiet grumble, I heed their instruction. A moment later, I hear them huff. You're fine, no damage detected. I open my eyes, watching them sit back against the desk. Thank you, August. I should imagine it's rather unnerving having that happen, though. I do hope he's at least polite. Oh, well, minus the headaches, he's not too bad. He was a fine hunter and a valued friend of many, including myself. He's missed terribly, even more for a reason for us to bring this thing to the ground. I silently ponder the implications, if the enforcers are involved with this, to think what if we had to do if the very agency he runs ended up being responsible for his husband's death. A loud knock interrupts my train of thought, and August throws me a look. He's silently, uncharacteristically nervous. I tilt my head and question. It's time I made amends. Come in. Oh, is it gonna be Piper? Piper! The atmosphere immediately grows tense, both of them making a point to look at me and nod at each other. Have I been tricked into mediating? Yes, apparently that's exactly what this is.
I hear you have something to say to me.
I let out a breath. I didn't realize I'd been holding. Thanking the stars that Piper is choosing to break the ice somewhat civilly. August clears their throat, rubbing their forefinger and thumb together. Seeing them unnerved is alarming.
Yes, well, I wanted to apologize, formally.
And for the first time.
Yes, Piper, for the first time. If I could go back and change how I reacted, I would do it in a heartbeat. You didn't deserve any of this.
She looks so angry, but also a little defeated. I imagine this isn't easy for her. It wouldn't be for me if I were in her shoes.
You really hurt me, August. It will take time for us to get back to where we were.
But Yui told me that you really do wish to make amends, and that you're on our side in all of this, so I accept your apology.
Take however long that you need. Whatever I can do to make it easier, I shall. To prove to you that I mean it.
Aww, friendship! Piper quirks a single brow, a smile creeping onto her lips. Well, I will—
I am not arm wrestling you ever again. I'd rather you drove a dagger through my heart, frankly.
Oof. That's a bit drastic. Anyway, shall we discuss this plan of yours, Hunter Nyampasu? The plan. General, you and Ezra will see to the wards while Piper and I meet Finn in the catacombs. Well, he'll escort us to the hidden entrance in the dungeons and be our lookout. There, Piper and I will enter and gather as much intel as we can, for as long as you're able to starve off the protections. We'll then leave via the exit in the forest. There we'll meet Finn again, making a hasty escape before anyone catches wind. In theory. Yes, in theory. August purses their lips, taking in the provided information. I see. And you're satisfied with this? That it's achievable without any of us getting caught? I am, yes, regardless. I think it's necessary. We cannot proceed with our investigation without seeing what they're keeping down there. Or what they're not keeping down there. This could change the whole investigation, August. Very well, I trust you, both of you. I guess the next thing for us to do is visit the witch then. Pepper tilts her head at them, her eyes wide, and August sighs deeply. Sorry, Ezra. Well done, you're getting there. Just try it without the attitude next time, yeah? I'll wait for you at the entrance to the Kazamar end of the catacombs come nightfall. Be careful, Merriman. I know you're capable, but be on your guard. Piper offers them a small smile, and it seems genuine for the very first time.
Always am, General.
The shop is quiet, much like August as they stand stoically by my side. I spare them a glance, watching how they smooth their freshly pressed, clean outfit. Don't be nervous. Ezra doesn't bite. Don't get sassy with me. I laugh at their non-threatening tone, and Ezra appears from the back room. I read that as back rooms for a second. Like this entire shop was the back rooms, and Ezra just pops out of nowhere. Could you imagine? Oh, good morning. August stares, almost as if they're paralyzed, and Ezra suddenly flicks his gaze to me, a singular eyebrow slowly rising in question. General, didn't you want to speak to Ezra? I contemplate my next move and decide to take my life in my hands, nudging August forward with a gentle hand. Rather than tearing my arm clean from my body, they simply throw me a glare and put themselves right as they come to stand in front of the young witch. Ezra, it's time I apologize to you. Oh? The shock on Ezra's face is evident, but he quickly recovers. Gus, you don't have... Yes, I do. I do. In the interest of not being here explaining all day, I'll keep it short.
I should have never left Argyria the way I did. Or at least without giving you an explanation. I owed you that, and I'm sorry I was too caught up in my own issues to bother.
And I certainly shouldn't have treated you the way I did towards the end of your time under my tuition, nor the time in which we've coexisted here. You know what? Oberon and Lady Adalia were like. They always made comments about how you were surpassing me, about how disappointed they were.
That's because you taught me. I'm powerful because of you. I wouldn't be half the witch I am today if it wasn't for you. I continued my studies long after you left, all from your books.
August looks like they don't know what to say. Color rises to their cheeks, and they quickly avert their gaze as Ezra continues.
Your skills remain unparalleled, and your parents were fools not to see that. I still look up to you and could still learn from you.
My healing is still something to be desired.
Well, you can't be good at everything.
They share a smile, and August looks like a different person. They stand a little taller, like a huge weight has been lifted. Making men suits them. Aww, forgiveness. I accept your apology.
I should never have blamed you for the insecurities my parents planted in my head. I can't take back what happened, but we can move forward.
We can. We will. Ask about where they grew up. Ask about moving to Lunaris. This one. What was it like growing up in Argyria? Argyria?
Incredibly boring, but enchanting nonetheless.
Perfectly summed up. There was nothing very special about it, but it was strangely charming.
The only interesting thing to do there was to learn magic. Witches would flock there to learn at the academy August's family ran. Some of the finest witches in all of Escria taught there, including Gus.
Ezra becomes wistful, a fond smile crossing his lips. August, less so. True to their nature, though, they roll their eyes at the compliment. I'm hardly one of the finest. Liar, I was honored to have you as my guide, no matter what you say. My family couldn't afford the tuition, but Gus saw something in me and took me under their wing anyway.
I fondly remember the look on your mother's face when you told her you would tutor me free of charge.
August grimaces, but their smile betrays them.
I do miss making Mother angry.
She was just annoyed that everyone could see that people are able to flourish outside of her precious academy. Asked about moving to Linares. What made you both move here? Harry had visited my parents' academy in search of new recruits, strictly witches. I no longer saw a future for myself in Argeria. My parents had all but disowned me, and it felt good to be needed. Promised that I might do some good if I took up a position in the Enforcers was too perfect to pass up at the point of my life. God, is it just me, or does everybody in this game have fucking daddy issues? Like, August has daddy issues. I think Finn does. Omen does, I believe. And, I think it's just those three, but still, it's like half the cast. That's gotta say something. Ezra clears his throat. Do you regret it, leaving? A pause, but just a quick one, and August answers confidently. No, but I regret how I felt, how I left my friend down. Everything happens for a reason, Gus. It's in the past. What about you, Ezra? His smile fades, softens. After my father passed, I felt a little useless at home. I worked tirelessly to raise money to buy my own shop. I just wanted to help people like he always did, in his own way. Magic was really the only way I knew how, and Linares just happened to be the first place where I might be able to afford to first start.
I'm so glad things worked out the way they did. Though things may not be perfect, I found family here.
Ezra may not have a dad, but he can call someone daddy if you know what I'm saying. I'll go home. I'm so glad that we were able to resolve your issues. It's so nice to see you both like this. Thank you, Yui. I'm glad too. Now, shall we discuss the plan? I'm pretty well versed on the words that they use, so with both of us, I doubt they stand much of a chance. Ezra scoffs. Trust me, they don't. Piper and I will head into the catacombs to meet Finn, and I assume that he'll be able to tell us the wards are down. Ezra doesn't hesitate to respond, his words confident. I can definitely assure that he knows. Our connection is very strong, specifically in mind with his prosthetic. Yes, strong. Ezra blushes quite impressively to avert his gaze. Are they implying that they fucked? Because if so, then yeah, I can totally see it. Oh yeah. Finn for sure uses this prosthetic to finger him. Gus, please.
Oh, sorry. Did I make you uncomfortable? Like, say, me having to watch you fawn over Casimir nightly?
Ooh.
Point taken.
Ooh. Anyway, back to the plan. Have you heard from Harry at all since the night of the last murder? He's been around, though he seems to be avoiding me. He's keeping to himself. I cannot label that as suspicious, though. The man just loses his husband, but I'll keep an eye on his whereabouts. I don't think we won't have to worry about him looking for us, though. He's distracted. I'm still 99% sure that Harry is evil. Wait! Listen, I know the monster was responsible for the murders, but what if, like, Harry summoned it somehow? I don't know. I know that's a stretch, but I am still 99% sure that that guy is, that guy is evil along with gay. Like, you can't tell me otherwise. I better get going then. I need to get my armor and weapons from the wolf. Ezra hands August a crumpled piece of parchment, and they nod once, getting to work gathering whatever ingredients Ezra has written down.
I know you don't need me to tell you, but be safe. Let us know you're okay as soon as you can.
Yes, Mom. I will, Mom.
Tread carefully. Don't let them catch you, I have faith in you.
Wow, you made a big mistake by saying that, but I'll do my best. I head back to the wolf to repair myself, now fully kitted in my armor, my weapons safe in their holster. I begin to slowly make my way towards the main entrance to the catacombs. The air is chilly and the sun is already low in the sky. We must wait until sunset to ensure Finn and the clan can safely assist. But as each minute passes by, my gut feels heavy with anticipation. I hope this works. I hope we don't get caught. More for Piper and August than for myself. I have so many people relying on me. I absolutely cannot let them down. The flickering golden candlelight is almost comforting. As I head deeper into the catacombs, I know I'm safe here now that I'm aware that it's only Finn's clan that lingers. But there's something about being down here that has my guard up. I smile to myself, thinking that the scariest thing that might actually jump out at me would probably be Raven. Oh yeah, Raven is Finn's daughter apparently, which makes Finn a DILF, but you know, I'm not dating Finn. We're dating Omen and hopefully Alcar. I turn the corner and find the place where Piper and I agreed to meet. There's no sign of her, but then again, I am a little early. With a deep sigh, I lean against the wall, listening to the steady drip, drip, drip of water upon the stone. Then Finn appears before me as if out of thin air.
Good evening.
Hey, Daddy. I greet him with a smile, pleased to have some company. Hello, Finn. Merriman late, or are you a stickler for being on time? I shrug, pushing away from the wall. The latter. I assume Piper is very late. The grin that crosses his face tells me otherwise. Oh, you'd be surprised. I could tell you some stories that involve too much rum and... He stops, rolling his eyes. Maybe another time. There she is. Piper emerges from the shadows, her eyes carefully fixed upon Finn.
Stop telling stories, Casimir. Can't a lady be hungover once or twice in her lifetime?
Finn throws his head back and laughs heartily, clutching his stomach. Once or twice, sure. Let's not get too deep into such unsavory tales, shall we? He quickly straightens up, his smile fading, the way his eyes widen telling me I definitely do want Piper to get into such unsavory tales. Spill the tea! Alas, maybe at a more appropriate time. No! Now! Let's spill the tea while we go, do a prison break. Remind me to take you to the tavern for a drink, but we should really get a move on. Piper nudges Finn as she passes, winking at me as we fall into step, him trailing quietly behind us.
We'll save it for when the sun is out. Can't stop me then, can he?
Woo! As we head deeper into the tunnels, everything feels different. Yeah, the fire is blue. There's no longer that comforting golden glow, the jagged stonework now illuminated by unnervingly still, vibrant blue mage light. Piper's demeanor changes, and I hear Finn pipe up behind us.
We're not in my territory anymore. Stay alert.
Then he suddenly stops in front of us, bringing us to a halt. Wait, stop here. I can feel the barrier. It's close. So now what? I stare at Finn's prosthetic, the etchings glowing but still dull. We wait for Ezra's signal. We stand in silence and Finn begins to shift where he stands. It seems unnatural for him to look so nervous. Casimir, if you don't stand still... He hugs, clearly frustrated. Theato, you will look for him, won't you? Piper narrows her eyes, but her expression quickly softens when she looks at me. We'll look for him. We will. Oh yeah, Fiero is Finn's friend. And guessing because, like, Finn can't stand still, probably he's, like, ADHD coded at least. That, or he's just really nervous. Probably the nervous thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has ADHD as well.
Thank you. I know you may not be able to free him if he is there, but just tell him we'll get him out, whatever it takes.
Then Finn's arm begins to thrum, the markings coming to life and illuminating the tunnel. He looks down at the glowing palm, flexing his fingers, and he smiles. It's go time.
Let's do this.
Be careful, both of you. And listen out for my signal from the forest exit. I'll alert you the second you need to get out.
See you on the other side. Alright, let's do this. We watch him leave and he disappears into the darkness. Well, let's find out what those bastards are hiding, shall we? I sigh, wondering what we will do if we find nothing. If this is all a dangerous waste of our time. If anything. Piper scoffs, nudging me in the ribs with her elbow. It's alright. If we come up short, we'll just go back to falling fuck all. Comforting. Really comforting. Surprisingly, or maybe not, the entrance to the dungeons remains unguarded, and that unnerving yet familiar blue mage light guides our way. Piper eagerly rushes toward the first empty cell, eyeing the small, frail, fey-like creature that's huddled in the corner. She picks up the clipboard that rests in a wooden holder beside the door. I remember you. Not one of my catches, but a good one. The fey lifts her head, smiling and exposing a row of shining razor-sharp teeth. She snickers, the sound more of a hiss than a laugh. Piper scoffs, clearly unamused as we make our way down the row, finding no hunter, no Aya. Bullshit! She has to be down here somewhere. Eventually, after what feels like forever, we find a cell that piques Piper's interest. In the shrouded darkness, I see a single crimson eye staring back at us, and the figure cautiously approaches. He looks gaunt for a vampire, his clothes hanging off his slender frame, his cheeks drawn and cut far sharper than what the beauty of his immortality may have already afforded him. Oh, that's Fiero. Piper surges forward, curling her fingers around the thick iron bars. Fiero, what have they done to you? Oh. I mean, he's kind of cute, not gonna lie. I mean, he's not as cute as the other ones, but yeah, he's still kind of cute. Piper, what are you doing here? His voice is deep. I try and fail to get a read on his aura. Oh, you know, just taking a stroll. What do you bloody think? His bright gaze flickers to me, and he shakes his head, his blank expression unchanging. You'll get no reading from me, Hunter. Then I remember, he's an empath, skilled in both masking his own emotions and reading others. I wonder just how powerful he is. I mean, not powerful enough if he got himself caught. Finn and the clan have been looking for you. He blinks, his movements groggy. I don't doubt that. Please tell them not to try and break me out. I have no doubt that Finnegan will be dramatic when you tell him of my whereabouts. Of course he will. Piper grabs his notes, tutting loudly as she scans the page.
Oh, Fiero. Unsanctioned feeding on an enforcer. Resisting arrest. You naughty boy.
Damn, you really said fuck the police, and I respect it. You know that's not true. They appear to have set me up quite beautifully. Why you? What happened? His stillness is unnerving. After being around vampires like Finn, vampires do an excellent job at fooling you into thinking they're at least a little bit human. I sensed someone in a great deal of distress in the forest. I didn't want to rally the whole clan for something that was likely insignificant, so I managed to convince Finn again to allow me to investigate alone. I discovered a wounded enforcer near the outskirts of town. They'd been bitten probably by a wandering youngling by the look of the mess that had made of them. I tried to help to assist them in getting back into town, but I quickly realized that the enforcers had me surrounded. They apprehended me, and I've been here ever since. Piper growls, roughly shoving the clipboard back into its holder. What the fuck are they doing? Harry struck a deal with your clan long ago, and you don't cause any trouble. See, that's us. I'm calling it still. Harry is evil. He's the one behind all this shit. Wait, what if he's like doing this to frame the vampires? Like, I don't know why he'd want to frame the vampires, but what if this is like all ploy just to frame the vampires? If anything, you do a better job of keeping the town safe than most of the other hunters. The Arab blinks at her, his mouth twitching ever so slightly. No good deed goes unpunished, Piper. Have they harmed you? I hate to think it, but I have to ask. Have they hurt you at all? They have not beaten me, nor have they tried to, and I'm not interested in being a troublesome prisoner. But they have been taking my blood. You fucking what? That seems pretty important, and leading with that would have been handy. His lips twitch as if he might be considering smiling. He rolls up his sleeve, and his forearm is covered in angry bruises. I've never seen a vampire marked this easily, unless they've been starving you. He covers his arm, nodding. Yes. Piper's gaze is fixed firmly upon the ground, her brows furrowed. She's restless and agitated. I am too. What could they possibly want your blood for? I wish I knew. None of this makes sense. Asked about other prisoners. Have you seen any humans being brought down here, specifically hunters? They keep the others far away from me, as you can see. He's right. There are at least 5 or 6 empty cells between him and the next occupied one. Though I might have sensed something. I assumed at first it was my hunger dulling my senses, but... His brow furrows. I'm confused about what species they are. Their scent is unusual. Unusual how? It wasn't human, but it wasn't something I'm familiar with either. No creature that I've ever come across anyway. And I've lived long enough to know when something isn't right, when something is new. I like that Piper, and she's doing everything she can to avoid eye contact. She's thinking about Aya. I can feel worry rolling off her in waves. Piper.
I need to know if my friend is alive.
Fiora offers her a sorry look, the most animated he's been thus far. I suspect that he can feel her pain and her anger. I wish I could offer some clarity, but I cannot. All I know is that your enforcers aren't the honorable agency that they claim to be. Something dangerous is afoot. She visibly deflates, her shoulders sagging and her balled fists relaxing. What are they doing? I've dedicated my life to these people, so have you. I nod, a lump in my throat. I feel sick. Everything inside me screaming, telling me that this is all wrong. I'm not surprised because this is the government, and the government is always fucked up. So this is no surprise to me whatsoever. I think I called this shit, like, at the very beginning. Like, just saying, fuck the government. If Aya has been down there'll be a trace. There has to be. You're right. We should keep looking. I clutch the bars, getting close to Fiero. I can't set him free right now. Not when we don't have much time we have, but I won't leave him there to wither and die. We'll get you out of here, soon. Somehow I don't doubt that, Hunter. Piper tugs at my sleeve. We may not have much time. Fiero quietly sinks back into darkness of his cell. I watch him settle upon the ground. It pains me to leave him, but I know he'll be okay. He survived Levi. He can survive this. Oh yeah, Levi is, I believe, Finn's dad, if I remember correctly. And from what I remembered, he was a dick. We find the warden's desk and rifle through the drawers with haste, and Piper gasps as she sets her sights on a bundle of prisoner manifestos, the type that should be outside the cells. These are incomplete. Why are they tucked away in here? She reads them quickly, her eyes frantic as she skins the messy writing. I see her resisting the urge to crumble the parchment. She hands it to me and turns away, her hands in her hair. All the other occupied cells had their paperwork neatly displayed outside, listed as their species, arrest date, offense, and an abundance of useless little details to keep the enforcers busy. But these two apparently hidden sheets that Piper's given me are different. General Io Walker and General Azazel Ripley. Who's this Azazel? Piper turns to face me. The hunter that Alcar fought with. Oh! I think I remember that. Yeah, there's an incident with Alcar. And apparently, I think he accidentally injured another hunter, if I remember correctly. I can't remember if he killed him or not, because it's been a while, but still, yeah. Oh, shit. And he's in a cell. Do you arrest him for getting attacked? I hate to say it for what it feels like a trillion time, but... What the fuck? They checked Aya out of her cell last night. Him too. Fuck. But look. She points at the time scribbled next to their names, and there's only a checkout. They haven't come back? It's been over 24 hours. They haven't come back. The loud banging echoes from down the hallway, and Piper quickly snatches the manifests from my hands, shoving them into her shirt. Okay, what if those two were used as the an experiment, like the monster that we saw? We move as fast as we can while staying cautious. Finn had signaled us for a reason, be it an enforcer, guard approaching, or the wards being recast. Either way, we need to get out of here. We hear muffled voices drawing near and quickly flatten ourselves against the wall, but we're not hidden. The forest exit is in sight. Our escape. Piper turns to look at me.
It's your call, General.
Ooh. I'm gonna save here just in case. I say if we run, they'll see us, but if we wait, they'll eventually see us. I say we run. I see another option. Time is ticking, and we can't stand around and pray we don't get caught. We run for it, on my signal. Piper nods, staying focused on me. I close my eyes, shutting everything else out around me. I can hear them, two people, seemingly not aware of our presence. Yet. Casual conversation, footsteps drawing nearer, but from the dungeon entrance, far away from us. I open my eyes and hold up my hands, signaling to advance. We run, pushing open the heavy door with ease. Cool, crisp air hits my face, and I spot a tall figure waiting for us.
You made it.
Yeah, surprisingly we did. He ushered us away from the door, pushing it closed as quietly as he can. Follow me. He leads us just a short distance and into a small clearing where we can still see the surprisingly well-hidden dungeon exit. What did you find? Not to tell us who we really cannot trust. Finn's mouth is set in a thin line, and he nods, taking the hint not to pry further just yet. There are guards approaching. A routine perimeter search. You should head out.
We should split up, just to be safe. I'll head home and get these hidden.
She pats her pocket where the manifests are safely tucked away. Just what I've wanted, being left alone in these fucking woods again. The clan are scattered around the forest. If you see the creature, don't engage. Not after what happened to Yui. Piper nods, her face grim. Later. I turn to Finn quickly, needing to tell him about his friend. Fierro is in there. He's alive. Well, you know, ish. He's alive. I smiled at his obvious glee. We found Fierro. We found evidence. We got in and out without getting detected. Tonight was not wasted, and neither was it a complete disaster. That kind of sounds like foreshadowing.
Thank you. I owe you a debt of gratitude.
Nah, I mean, if you want to, get me something, I'll just have a night with you. That's it. He helped us, too. He had information, and we found something that might actually help us make, waves. Then before he can respond, he braces up, eyes wide, fists clenched, and he looks at me with a stern gaze. You need to go. Now. They're close. I'll distract them if needs be. You being caught out here after papers going missing in there is not something we want them to put together. Head south. Our friend is waiting for you. Didn't think we'd leave you out here all alone again, did you? It's either going to be Raven or Alcar. A friend? Just go. The tone of his voice tells me I don't have time to question him. He's right, too. I shouldn't be seen here, no matter how innocent it might look on the surface. I head south as instructed, hearing a rustling in the tree line. Hey, it's my other boyfriend! I mean, we're not dating yet, but we will be! I stopped dead in my tracks at the sight of him, huffing. Hey yourself, so you're the friend then? I'm the friend, whatever that means. Come on, follow me, keep up. Alcar keeps glancing over his shoulder at me as we move deeper into the forest, following a trail of dirt so faint I can barely detect it. I almost want to tell him that he needn't to be worried about me disappearing in a puff of smoke, but the weighty, grim silence and what I have just learned kills the comment in my chest. It takes some time for me to realize, but the boulder in the woods Alcar eventually stops at has the outline of an opening to it. With a smirk thrown over his shoulder at me, he bends and presses his palm into the dirt. So this is where you've been hiding all this time? This is pretty new, but Omen started hanging around more. Sometimes he wanted to stay with me, wanting to give Ezra space, you know, so... I watch his shoulders rise and fall in a sharp, short shrug. Can't leave him out in the cold, even if he doesn't feel it. Speaking of, he's down here with me. Oh! On God? For real? Okay. With a final grunt, Alcard slides back what seems like a patch of grass and dirt. The entrance to his disguise impressively convincing. He reveals a narrow stone staircase leading down under the earth. I come to stand next to him, peering into the abyss. Not that it is dark down there. I see the dim glow of a fire, and I can tell it's warmer down there than up here.
Ezra's a miracle worker, huh? And Finn. You won't believe what a clan of vampires and a witch with a desire to nurture you at any given opportunity can do once they put their minds to it.
Exactly. With a smirk, he beckons me to go on ahead. I oblige, and hear him slide the hatch door closed above our heads. Ooh, this is quaint. I like it. It's like a little clubhouse. It's not a very long descent, some 10, 12 steps at most. I find myself standing in a circular, brightly but gently lit space. Stone walls partially hidden by curtains strewn about the place, some softening the impression that it's, well, a cave. The strings of light are clearly Ezra's idea. There are cushions and chairs on all sides of the room, though I have to wonder if Alcard broke into Piper's house to take some decor notes from her. I resolve to ask him later as a familiar figure curled up and fuming on one of the couches draws my attention immediately. Yui! Omen! My baby! Omen hops to his feet, dusting his hands on his trouser. His movement sends a flutter of empty candy wrappers to the floor. Oh god, he's been eating sweets again! Causing him to blush bright red, turn and try to pick them up. Alcard snorts as he comes to sit down next to Omen. Well, next to where Omen just vacated. He waves a careless hand. Worry about them later. Or maybe you can do that burn thing trick, right? Oh, Omen gives me a nervous look. Then his face relaxes and he smiles. The wrappers catch fire with barely a flicker of his power and burn to nothing. And he commits arson! He's perfect! It's the first display of his powers Omen has shown me, and as he sits back down and picks up a cushion to hug, I think he's more relaxed than he's ever been. Alcard gives him a pat on the back and grins, gesturing towards me. See? It's alright. Yes, of course. Omen turns and regards me for a moment. Then he closes the distance between us and sweeps me up in a tight, tight embrace. I reflexively hug back, surprised and quickly thawing to relief, and the warmth that seems to sink from his skin to mine. I press a kiss to his cheek and Omen chuckles, drawing away just enough to look at me with gentle eyes. Aww. He rests his forehead against mine, sighing.
I would have come for you myself, but Alcar was worried something might happen.
It's alright. It puts me more at ease that you're safe. I glance past his shoulders at the werewolf in question, whose grin immediately and skillfully evaporates in place of a scowl as soon as he sees me looking. Ooh, he's jealous. Or maybe he just wants to join in. Alcard, I'm polyamorous. I have 2 hands. Take my hand. We're gonna date now. Come on, date me. Seems like you're full of wise counsel and caution after all. Alcard rolls his eyes and snorts.
You're calling me weird in the middle of all this?
He has a point there. I let go of Omen with a final squeeze of his hand and he beams at me. So why exactly was Alcard tucking away into his safe and actually surprisingly extremely nice cave? Omen glances to the side, sheepish. Behind him, Alcard is mouthing something. Spat with his sister. Oh, I nod along. Not sure exactly what to say. Omen hasn't been the one to volunteer much information on himself and his sister beyond the big reveal, and at this point I'm not sure if it would be more or less awkward to ask. After all, I'm fairly sure that they're not in any sense responsible for things going to shit around here. Not with that I know of. Fairly sure.
Figured he should be staying out of sight when he can burst into flames at any moment.
Omen whips up around to face him, and I can hear the fluster in his voice. I was not! Alcard shrugs lazily, shooting me a shit-eating grin as though trying to rope me into the teasing. If it counts as teasing, I see the tail of Omen's hair already gaining a cherry red wisp-like quality. Aww. Also, what happened with him and his sister? Like, I thought they, seemed on, pretty okay terms from what I've seen. Is it because she's dating, that one guy, one of the twins? I don't know. Hope you can tell us. Don't worry, you look cute when you're on fire. Ooh! He's flirting with my boyfriend! Polyamory time! Omen groans, burning his face in his hands. I stifle a laugh despite myself and come to sit down next to Alcar on the couch. Omen gives me a sharp look like I've done a small betrayal, but joins Alcar on the other side. He picks up a cushion and holds it close to his chest. Polyamory is happening! We sit in silence for a long minute, and it's the most peace I've had for a very long time, especially since coming to Lunaris. These two don't know much of anything, I realize. Weberhat's not much more than me. Even though Alcar has clearly been snooping around, and Omen possibly definitely carries his own bag of secrets. I mean, he is a demon, and apparently the son of, like, Satan or whoever that devil is in this universe, so yeah. And plus we didn't even know he had a sister till now, so there's that. Pass me the jar. I can see Omen startle out of the corner of my eye. When I glance his way, it's to catch the flash of guilt on his face, and then he bends over to retrieve something. He surfaces back up with a mostly empty glass jar of wrapped candies. Oh, Omen?
Omen! Ezra's gonna fucking kill me, buddy!
Bruh! Yeah, Ezra's gonna kill me too! Actually, I don't even know if Ezra even knows that we're dating, but still, he's gonna kill me too! You know you can't eat sweets!
I'm sorry. You said help yourself.
But not enough to, like... Oh wait, is your tongue gonna go numb, or is that just chocolate? Alcar reaches for the jar, but Omen holds it away from him. Show me your tongue, Omen! Oh, so it is all candy. Omen's eyes widen, and Alcar leans back away from us with a not-so-subtle snicker. I glare at him, which he shrugs off with a roll of his eyes, and we each look at Omen expectantly. The son of Satan takes a sharp breath, then sticks his tongue out at me, just enough to mock. Okay, so, yes, he is the son of Satan. I figured it out. I knew it was a big demon, like, I don't know, Satan or Lucifer. It's either one of those two. I think you should take your allergy seriously.
Well, I think demons ought to be allowed to take their indulgences seriously.
Okay, you're not wrong, but still. Alcar laughs then, open and full of mirth, and not like any sounds I've ever quite heard from him before. Listen, we need that tongue in my mouth and in my cooch, so you cannot lose that thing. I don't know if, like, you can, like, lose your tongue, but still. Just be careful with that tongue, goddammit. He ruffles Omen's hair, then gives his long ear a slight tweak. That's how you show him attitude. Yeah, see? You're learning. From the best, I gather. Omen blinks, then laughs too, an awkward chuckle that he still tries to stifle behind a hand. Oh god. Alcar is influencing Omen. And what's worse, I'm kind of enabling it considering I need to date them both. Fuck! Alcar's wolf ears relax, and I see his face soften into something very bright and very fond. I look at Omen, then at the lichen by my side, feeling strangely different. Oh! Oh! I didn't think it was gonna be that easy. Oh! Listen, to be honest, I did not think it was gonna be that easy. Like, I didn't think it's just gonna, like, give us, like, the option. I just thought, you know, like, there's gonna be, like, a confession scene and then we pick. But you know what? I'm not complaining. Let's do it. It jolts me, almost lightning sharp in its clarity that this is something we could have together. I got the achievement, Romance, Omen, and Alcar. Nice. That thing I feel when I'm with Omen, this happiness. Before I can stop myself, my hand moves, almost of its own accord, and I reach out to touch Alcar's face. He turns, red eyes wide. Then Omen captures my wrist, drawing my hand to his lips to press a kiss to my palm. Ooh. Oh! Then my soul returns to me like a whip across my ass, and I drew back, getting up away from them. Have I overstepped? Oh, sorry if you heard me stumble a little bit. The picture caught me off guard, and I thought we were gonna see some cocks, not gonna lie. But Alcar catches my hand, the one I had touched his face with, the one Omen kissed, and holds onto it firmly. He meets my eyes with a lopsided grin.
Where are you running to? Finish what you started, will you?
Oh! Did I just enter a threesome? Okay. I glance at Omen uncertainly. He only smiles, beams even, his whole face lighting up, as if nothing else is running away from this. Grudgingly, I sit back down. I swear I can almost hear Alcar's heart hammering in his chest. Or is that my own? My face certainly feels unseasonably warm. You will not be the one to scold me about consequences and impulsiveness. Oh, of course not. I squint at him, and on the other side, Omen chuckles. Something tickles my hand, his tail, creeping over to wrap around my wrist, an embrace of another kind. His eyes are so bright, like hearth fire embers, and his smile is so warm, it occurs to me, immediately and undeniably, that this will not be a bad decision. As much as it pains me to leave. I'd better head out then. No! Stay! We're having this threesome, goddammit!
Shame, but stay safe and all that. Not that you need that Chad, big and strong as you are.
Listen, Mama didn't raise no bitch. I got this. Good night. I turn, getting one final look at them before I head back into the forest. I head straight for the shop when I leave the forest without incident. Remember my promise to Ezra and August that I let them know that I was safe. Hey, Ezra, August, what's up? I have 2 boyfriends now. One's a Lycan and one's a demon, so there's that. Anyway, the plan. I push the door open and spot Ezra and Finn in a somewhat heated debate. Oh! They both straighten up when they see me, Finn apparently too distracted to anticipate my arrival. His eyes are wide for a moment before he settles back into that implacable, I can't fucking read stillness.
Oh, you're back. We were getting worried.
Nah, don't worry, I was getting fucked. Nah, just kidding. I wish I was, though. He steps towards me, leaving Finn where he's apparently stuck in place. Finn said you found Fiero. I'm so relieved. Yes, Fiero is alive. We should get him out of there as soon as we can. They aren't exactly treating him with kindness. I look at Finn, anticipating an outburst. It'd be justified. They've been taking his blood and starving him. What for? What could they possibly need with his blood? I don't know, some weird vampire experiments or something? I don't know, man. There was a lot going on. And plus, I kind of forgot about it, to be honest, because I was too busy trying to fuck a Lycan and a demon at the same time. There's a clear and unusual tension between them tonight, something I can't quite place. I seem to be collecting secrets quite effectively lately, so I can't hurt to try and pry another and maybe help defuse whatever this is. Are you two okay? Finn almost looks straight through me. Ezra's eyes widen, but he quickly recovers, his smile strangely earnest. What do you mean? I don't mean to interfere, but you both seem so tense. Is something wrong?
We just had a little disagreement. It happens, especially with all of this going on.
Listen, I know all couples fight, but still, you gotta resolve that shit, dude. Ezra's gaze snaps to Finn, eye contact fixing and holding before Finn exhales sharply, apparently willing to be a little bit more open than the witch.
With everything that has happened, I made the decision that I would be more mindful and keep my distance from Ezra. Him being seen with me made the Enforcers make his life a living hell, which he will vigorously deny.
Ezra opens his mouth to protest, but Finn pointedly continues. You cannot live your life with them breathing down your neck. I know what they do to people who they feel threatened by, or who they like to use as a scapegoat. Look at Fiero. You hold knowledge from working with them. They're afraid of you.
I refuse to stand by and let those I care about get hurt. I've had enough, and if staying away helps them get off your back, helps protect you, then so be it.
We're stronger together. I see a flaw in his logic, however thoughtful his explanation might seem. Don't you think you're stronger together? That we're all stronger together? I know he means well, but from being in Lunaris and being around this weird and wonderful little family I've joined, I've come to see that strength really is better in numbers. Using logic, I roll my eyes hoping he sees my point. I understand where you're coming from with this, but in such a situation, don't you think it's better to take some risks? Being away from those you care about truly does more harm than good. Your presence gives them strength, and you face the consequences together. Finn, you're expecting to be everywhere and nowhere at once, and we're all taking risks here. Exactly. Please tell me at least you see how much better we are with you around, as part of this unit. He looks to the side, a brighter smile forming before he returns his gaze to us. I've lived a long time. I may just be a little overly cautious, but yes, I see. I mean, you are a dad, so... Annoyingly and embarrassingly, I feel a yawn brewing. Unable to stifle it, my fatigue suddenly catches up to me, and I find 2 pairs of wide eyes staring at me. Tired, are you? Just a little. I should go. They both smile at me, watching as I part the curtain to leave. Thank you for today, for everything. Rest well, Yui. The cool air hits my face, invigorating me enough to help me drive myself back towards my bed. I take a few steps away from the shop and I hear a familiar voice calling my name. I turn, smiling when I see them. My boys? The amount of stares we get as I push open the door to the wolf is impressive, even the innkeeper behind her counter, but after a moment all eyes avert. I glance behind me to see that both half-Lycan and demon have disappeared. Disappointment bites me in the ass, but I suppose it makes sense they want to evacuate the scene now that they've seen me home safely. Aw, I thought they were gonna take me to bed and fuck me. God damn it. Well, at least I can just drive in and say, hey, check it out. I have a Lycan and a demon for a boyfriend, so suck it. You can't fuck with me because I'm a bad bitch. Even now, the part of me that claims to be a good sense screams and shouts that this was a mistake. Terrible bad decision made in haste that I can't follow through on. I swallow past the lump in my throat and make my way upstairs trying to think. Only to open the door and see them both sitting on my bed. Ayo. Omen jumps to his feet first, eyes and smiles so wide and so full of relief. Alucard stays sitting, his eyes studying the floor like it holds the secrets of the universe. Y'all don't think? Surely not. No. After a slightly awkward pause, I clear my throat. You two had fun breaking in?
Alcar made me do it.
Yeah, but you joined in, so you're just as bad as him, but that's okay because I love you.
Yeah, actually. The window latch was a bit tricky. Nothing I can't handle, of course. I've got talented hands.
Listen, if you're good with your fingers, and he's good with his tongue, then this is gonna be a very, very beautiful relationship. People come at me, all 10 bandaged digits, and Omen laughs. After a moment, I feel the same mirth, the same warmth bubbling in my belly. I can't deny the fondness I have for them, nor how warm and right it is to come and sit on the bed with Alucard, Omen joining me at my other side. Omen puts his head on my shoulder, his tail snaking around to wrap my arm in an embrace. Alucard leans into us both, his smart mouth pursed into a pout. Hey Grumpy Wolf, tell me what's on your mind. Feelings, Hunter, a full body disease, and you both gave me a killer case of it. Cope and seethe and kiss us. Omen stifles a giggle into my shoulder, his breath warm and smelling of a hearth in winter. I take a long, deep breath, drinking in the infection even as Alucard mutters a curse without any heat under his breath.
Are we really doing this then? Together?
Yes, we are! He leans away, just enough to stare with light, his hopeful eyes full of wonder. Alucard and I exchange a look, like we can say no to that face, like anyone in this world above and below can. You can't say no to Omen, he is baby. Yes. Yeah. I'm glad. Alucard snorts and wraps both of us in a slightly too rough, awkward hug, and pulls us both down with him so we fall back onto the bed. You sleep on this disgraceful slab? Next time we're staying in my cave. If you do not mind August tearing down the town looking for me and biting my head off when they finally do.
Don't worry. Their teeth aren't very sharp.
I glance at him. Alucard raises his head to stare at him. Omen notices neither of us, having closed his eyes and snuggled in closer to me, as though getting ready to sleep. How do you know that, though, Omen? I'm curious. Are you two going to spend the night here? Really? On my other side, Alucard pointedly throws one long leg over us and snuggles in tight as well. You suggested this. Not exactly. Even as I say so, I found the alternative, telling them to leave me alone, is not something I have the strength to utter at the moment. In this warmth, I can't bear the thought of losing it now that they've given it to me. It's a moment before Omen suddenly sits up, nose to the air. What is it? I smell blood. Oh god, not again! Can we please not have a murder for like one day so I can just get with my boyfriends, please? I sit up in an instant, Alucard mirroring. He sniffs the air too, a sharp frown marring his face, and just as he opens his mouth to supply an answer, there comes a hard, sharp knock on the door. Stay here. Omen hops to his feet and rushes for it. I would have shouted for him to be careful, but Flame licks at his sleeves. His hair, his presence grows, dwarfs us in the room that is suddenly almost too hot. He'll be fine. Then before he reaches the door, it slams open. Oh no, it's her. There stands a bloodied and beaten Aurora, a disheveled shell of the calm and collected woman I met just weeks ago. I get to my feet, Alucard following, reaches for the back of Omen's shirt, protectively tugging him close. I'm already reaching for my weapon. Rather excessive, considering she's clearly unarmed. Unarmed, tired, and possibly hurt. But alarms are going off in my head, and I don't move to assist her. Not yet. What if she brought something here? Suddenly, Aurora spieled to me about Ibeck, about how she likes defending monstrous creatures, feels like it's playing on repeat in my ears. Aurora, what are you doing here? She leans against the doorframe, leaving a bloodied handprint upon the wood. Her pale eyes scan Omen's face, then Alucard is growling behind me, then focuses on mine. With a deep, ragged breath, Hunter Nampasu, I think I may require your assistance. Oh, I'm guessing your little monsters are kind of backfiring, aren't they? At the corner of my eye, I can see Omen starting to move towards her. Alucard yanks him back, however, and whispers something harsh in his ear that I can't quite make out. Across the room, Aurora chuckles hoarsely. The big bad wolf, scared of a single woman with a little blood on her. I thought you had a sister, half-blood. Okay, not gonna lie, that growl kind of caught me off guard. Give me a second. I need to breathe. Give me a second. Also, is it just me or does Aurora look kind of cute here? I don't know what's up with that dress, but she does look kind of cute here despite, you know, being a psychopath. Alcar snores so deep, pressed right against my back, that I can almost feel it. Hastily, I put myself more squarely between him and Aurora, on the off chance he might give in to somewhat understandable temptation to do something stupid. Even as I move, Omen stays clear of us. He holds out an open hand to Aurora, and she tenses but stands her ground. His expression is as serious as I've ever seen it. Close the door. Aurora blinks, seemingly startled at the command, but her lips curl and she concedes, stepping fully into the room and flicking the door shut with a heel.
And if you try anything funny, you'll leave by the window.
How gracious of you to let me know. Now, Hunter. She pins me with that icy, almost manic gaze, and I have to force myself to release the hilt of my weapon. Are you hurt badly? What happened? Much of this blood is not mine. Thank you for your concern, loath as I am to accept it. Aurora twirls a lock of pale hair around a finger, grimacing as it is no doubt comes away dry and flaky as blood-stained hair tends to, and conveniently gives me enough time to decide what I want to do with her. At my back, Alcar mutters something rude and stalks over to the far wall where he leans with his arms crossed. Omen gives him a look, gives me a slightly more apologetic look, then comes to stand next to me instead. Our shoulders almost brush, a tactic gesture of comfort. Aurora's eyebrows rise and fall. I see you've interrupted something here. Yeah, a threesome! So it's either you get into this and make it a foursome, or get the fuck out. Can we please focus on the matter at hand? Aurora smiles mockingly, but much to my relief, she nods and takes a deep breath, clutching a hand to her chest. The monster that had been giving you such trouble, I believe I've encountered it. My blood turns to ice. Where? Nowhere near, rest assured, but as you can see, things went sour for our little meeting.
Meeting, you say? Sounds like it wasn't your first.
Amazing how swiftly my dread turns into fury. I really hope he didn't guess right. Certainly not. I will not be discussing what I ran into here in front of these. She doesn't finish her sentence. Maybe she realizes it's wise not to, considering the glares all three of us are leveling at her. Aurora clears her throat, then straightens her chin raise. Regardless, I am sure you would want to hear what I have to say, Hunter. Damn right I do. Let's go to August. Aurora narrows her eyes at me, looking none too pleased, and I can't help but feel a twinge of satisfaction. Very well, I suppose.
Go. We'll create a diversion for you.
Wait, us? Oh, you're gonna commit arson, aren't you? You're not thinking about letting Yui go alone with this wench, are you? What if it's a trap? Aurora chuckles, this sounds spiteful, and she shrugs, extending one of her bloodied hands at me. I step away and cross my arms. She shrugs again. I'm no killer, hybrid. This, even you should know. And I assure you there is no trap. The things I wish to protect shall never thank me for it. Such is the nature and the sacrifice of my affection. Right. But I can see that Alcar relents, even if he's not happy about it. His wolf ears lay flat in his hair, but he elbows me in the arm and then casually swings his arms around my waist, pulling me to the far corner of the room with Omen. You remember that one path that looks like it's doubled in on itself? I think so. I remember it when I see it. Use that. Don't let her decide which road you take. And don't take the most obvious one.
For what it's worth, I don't think she's trying to trick you.
Omen glances over Alcar's shoulder at the woman in question. I can feel Aurora's eyes boring holes into the back of my head, but I elect to ignore her for now. It's hard to concentrate on anything else when I'm pressed so close to Alcar and to Omen by proxy. This is fine. Things feel more grounded this way. I'm surrounding myself in Muba. That's the way to go, boys. Don't you two want to come with me?
Yeah, your boss would be so happy to have us over for tea, I'm sure.
He has a point. Omen gently shrugs Alcar's arm off his shoulder, but not without pecking his cheek, then mine. Cute!
It will be easier if we both commit to causing a distraction. We can't let her be seen leaving this place.
He's blushing. He doesn't elaborate on that, but his hands fall to rest briefly on the hilt of my weapon, and he looks at me in the eye, and I have the sudden sinking feeling that Omen means to allude to my comrades. I'll see you both again. Alcar presses his mouth to my ear, sending a rush of heat up to my cheeks. He pulls away before anything else happens, and the smirk he gives me is his usual shit-eating cocky smirk. You fucking bet, Hunter. His eyes linger overlong on Aurora for a moment, and I could swear I could see her stiffen. Give it 5 minutes, then goes out the back door. Do you truly think we should go out the front? He doesn't answer, but something in his face changes. Harsher, fiercer, and she looks away at the snort. With that in his usual half-wave, Alcor makes for the door, fast enough I might be inclined to think he's trying to make a run for it if I wasn't still feeling the weight of his embrace around my waist. Owen follows close on his heels with one last look at us. The door shuts behind them with an eerie sense of finality. After an apparently successful exercise and distraction back in the Wolf, I rushed Aurora across town to August's rather impressive abode without further incident. I just imagine for the distraction, like, Omen and Alcor just commit arson. Like, they just set a random table on fire, and, like, everyone's, like, trying to, like, put it out, and we just sneak around the back. I hope that's canon, because I want that to be a distraction. They stand in the doorway and stare at each other with a crinkled nose. I'd say that's nice to see you, but... Can we come in? I meet their gaze, trying to convey the urgency.
Just don't get blood on the sofa. Please.
Yeah, sit on the floor where you belong, bitch. I take in my surroundings, and this home couldn't possibly owned by anyone other than Augustus Willenheim. I mean, look at all that blue and purple. Matches their aesthetic perfectly. This is beautiful, August. Thank you. It's nice having my own little sanctuary, though I don't spend as much time here as I'd like. I tentatively take a seat behind them, both of us glaring at Aurora across the expensive coffee table. Aurora clears her throat, her eyebrows climbing high as she stares at us from across the room. Can we start? I'd like to go home if we can get this over with quickly.
Explain exactly what you've been up to, Miss Woodridge. In detail.
She crosses her legs, smoothing the rumpled, dirty fabric of her skirt. August watches, appreciative of her attempt to collect herself, but perceptive that none of her filth makes contact with their home. No more than it must, at least. Firstly, in the interest of protecting myself, I want you to assure me that what I say here won't be used against me. From what I gather, you're working against the Enforcer, so I suppose you'd do well to agree to this condition. August looks at me for confirmation, and I shrug, knowing that she's right. We can't afford her to go to them at this point, to go to anyone but us. It stays between us. Good. Now I understand that you're aware that the level of creature activity has increased here in Lunaris as of late, Enforcer in Werlenheim. August nods. Yes, but Harry has done an excellent job in putting systems in place to ensure that we're on top of it. The number of fatalities has significantly dropped in the last year, if that's what you're getting at. Aurora hums, contemplating their statement with a tilt of their head. Lunaris had the lowest mortality rate of any town in the whole of Escaria, until very recently. Did you know that? They shift uncomfortably in their seat, avoiding eye contact with the both of us. She's playing a game, almost mocking August's obvious intelligence, I presume. Of course I was aware of that, yes. Don't you think that's awfully strange that all of a sudden one of the most peaceful areas would turn into an epicenter of creature activity? That one day they became descending upon us in droves stronger and faster than before? Did no one in your agency investigate a potential cause? I look at them again, assessing their reaction. My interest is considerably piqued. Ooh, we spilling tea here? Okay. Lunaris was never on my radar before I was caught here. I only knew of its existence because of Harry and James' notoriety, so I certainly didn't know this. Escaria is made up of cities and towns far larger than Lunaris, so for Aurora to claim that this sleepy little place is the hotspot for creature activity is beyond alarming. August. With a deep breath, August responds.
I'm aware that there was an investigation, but that nothing was found. We chalked it up to the simple fact that we aren't doing a good enough job of eliminating the creatures as a country. That they are multiplying at a rate far quicker than we and everyone else can effectively handle.
Another quiet hum. I gather that she's simply testing them. Aurora knows a lot more than she's letting on, clearly, and it brings back a touch of her knowing resolve. So why in the last year has that magically gotten better? Until these recent murders began, Lunaris was relatively peaceful again, wouldn't you say? Not as peaceful as before, but an improvement was seen, yes. I'm no wiser than you, really, Enforcer, but I do know that the thing committing these murders is no ordinary creature. And I know that the method in which your precious leader has used to fix the problem is an unsavory one. But something isn't right here in Lunaris. Something is drawing them here, and whatever that something is, it's making them stronger. What happened last night? How do you know all this? What happened last night? Tell us what happened last night. How'd you find the creature? Aurora daintily clasps her hands into her lap, taking her time to respond. I often check the graveyard and the forest surrounding the Ibex before I sleep. I like to know that there's no creature out there that may need my help. You have Lux for that. Does she not do her job sufficiently enough? Lux is an incredible guard, but she doesn't care for creatures in the way that I do. She simply serves to protect us, not them. Why do you require a night guard exactly? Before Aurora can speak, August pipes up.
Because we were fed up of them calling in problems and using up our limited resources. The only real issues they ever had was some angry townsfolk with a kitchen knife.
Oh? If you hadn't already noticed, the Ibex isn't exactly popular around here, so he assigned Lux as an unofficial guard to keep watch. Anyway, as I was saying, I did my usual nightly check and I heard something in distress in the forest. I found a creature. The creature. A ghastly looking thing, but it was crying. Crying? August lets out a tiny burst of laughter, quickly covering their mouth once the sound has escaped. I cannot explain, but that's what it sounded like. Hunched over against a tree trunk, clutching the bark, just wailing. I approached it, it simply ignored me and retreated into the forest. But she holds out her arm, the gash is deep and angry. As you can see, it wasn't so uninterested in me this time. It attacked me, pinned me to the ground. I only escaped because it heard something and scurried off. Shit. I looked at August, and they're pinching the bridge of their nose, their eyes closed. How do you know all of this? I look at Aurora, taking note of her confidence and her poise. It's impressive, but I can't help but wonder how the hell she knows all this information that she's just unloaded on us. You know an awful lot about the Enforcers, even more than us apparently. How? She shrugs nonchalant, not quite getting the gravity of the situation, I feel. People talk.
To the twins that alienate everyone by telling them they deserve to get gobbled up by monsters for daring to be afraid. Sounds unlikely.
They do have a point there. Believe it or not, there are people in this sad little town that are more afraid of the Enforcers and your hunter pets than you are of the monsters. They see you talking to the things that lurk in the catacombs, the vampires, the lichen, the demon. They may smile and seem friendly, but they are just as much of an untamed creature as the ones that lurk in the woods that you don't allow to drink in a tavern or sleep in your beds. I watch as August rises and walks to stand in front of the fire. Aurora hasn't taken her eyes off me, her expression inscrutable. Inscrutable? I can't fucking read! You need to see a healer. She shrugs, uncaring, sparing her bleeding arm a fleeting glance. Like I said, it's just a scratch. 'Tis but a flesh wound. She's right.
You don't know what the hell that thing is. And you're already unsettling enough without suddenly sprouting horns.
You should seek out Ezra, at least we'll know he'll be discreet. She stands and quickly heads for the door, as if the moment to leave this place couldn't have come sooner. Before she reaches for the handle... Wait. Yes?
Don't forget this kindness we've shown you here tonight. We could have thrown you in the dungeons for what you've been withholding, but I'd rather not see someone else disappear. Though our beliefs may differ, we are here to protect you.
I stand to join them, a show of solidarity in that promise. Aurora may not believe their words, but their promise has and always have been to protect everyone. Stay out of the woods, Aurora. Creatures like this are not something you play house with. Make no mistake, this is something even you cannot feel sympathy for. It's killed mindlessly and unprompted. She smiles, and for the first time, it seems genuine, if not a little reserved. I'll come straight to you if I see it again, and thank you. Do you guys believe that? Because I highly doubt she's gonna do that. I'm sorry that I brought her here. You did the right thing. Do not apologize. They take a seat, sinking deeply into the cushions with a grateful groan. Is it bad that I remain unfazed by such conversations? Not knowing a bloody thing has become the norm, apparently.
This town is infested with secrets. I can't wait until all of this is over. If it ever will be.
How am I supposed to do my job and protect these people when I'm left so in the dark? You care enough to keep trying, that's all that matters. People of Lunaris are lucky to have you, August. Thank you, Yui. It'll be morning soon. With a heavy sigh, August curls their legs up beneath them. Yet another night of no rest. What's new in this town, I suppose I better try and get an hour or two of sleep. I'll head back to the wolf and attempt to do the same. We'll reconvene tomorrow. Sleep well, Hunter. Good night, sir. I wake barely refreshed, but with an inkling. A gut feeling, or something. The Ibex is more desolate than I remember. Doors open easily enough that even though there isn't anyone there to greet me, and the chapel within has only pockets of sunlight where it streams through the cracked windows. The rest is drowned in shadows, but shadows I know are safe, I guess. My instincts warn me of nothing other than two bright presences perched atop the dice at the far end of the room. And as they're here, I feel I don't need to worry about my own safety. Strange that I feel that way about two demonic entities of the highest class. Me, a hunter, alone in this abandoned temple, like the plot of some corny horror movie. Elaine and Omen's conversation peters out as I close the door behind me and approach them. The way they tilt their head in perfect synchronization reminds me eerily of the Woodridge twins, but their expressions are quick to change to big similar grins. They can just step into a church? I thought demons would, burn or, go back to hell if they, step into a church. I don't know, I guess it depends on, what demon. Yui! Omen hops off the dice and startles towards me, arms outstretched. I see a flash of sheer relief and happiness on his face, opening my arms in surprise before he has his arm around me, pulling me close. His warmth is a shocking contrast to the winter chill, but not an unpleasant one as I hold him. A flood of relief leaves me almost lightheaded. He's fine. I'm fine. How soon before this changes? I let my chin rest on his shoulder, breathing in deep on the scent of him, of brimstone and hearth. It feels like a small, comforting eternity before he lets me go. His hands come to rest on my face, however, and Omen tilts his head, eyes searching my expression. You got to August safely? Yes, I did, and I slept well. Yes, and Aurora was cooperative to our questioning too. I suppose we're long overdue for miracles. Omen lets his hands lie to my shoulders, then down my arms where they stay. I also remember you being much more shyer than this, so that's a second victory for me, I suppose. Omen? Shy? We both nearly jump at the musical laughter. Omen turns and I look past him, just in time to see Elaine coming close down to meet us. She's looking much more better than the last time I saw her, though she wasn't so bad off then either. There's a spring in her step, and her aura feels the same as her brother's. It may be a little harsh and around the edges. Hello, future sister-in-law, what's up? She gives me a curtsy, showing off shiny boots, and also the lash of a long gold jeweled tail. It's nice to meet you properly, Elaine. Much the same. Brother speaks well of you. Elaine presses a finger to her lips suddenly, pressing them in thought. I let her examine me at length, no reason for concern when Omen is a reassuringly presence by my side. But then she sticks out her hand. The gesture catches me almost by surprise. Uncertainly, I reach for it, assuming it is a handshake. At the last moment, Elaine catches my finger with her own and curls them tight together. Take care of my brother, alright? Elaine! Elaine giggles and lets go. I try not to snatch my hand back so fast to be rude, but I do. I've just been fooled into a duel with a demon. Aw, man, does that mean I lose another one of my souls? Son of a bitch! I'm already down 6 lives, so I gotta lose a 5th one too? Don't worry, Hunter. It's not a covenant, see? You didn't answer and I didn't ask for permission first, so we are not indebted. Okay, never mind, good. I still have my 6 lives. Okay, we're good. You can't do that. That's rude. Omen squeezes my hand, looking stuck somewhere between pained and slightly panicked. I clear my throat, calm my own paranoia down, and pat his head comfortingly. Well, she's right, so it's no trouble. That aside, you're my brother's favorite. It would be so immensely rude to enter a covenant with you. I would never. The matter-of-fact way in which he stays, it snatches a chuckle out of me before I can help myself. Omen sucks in a breath, puffs out his cheeks in a pout, which only makes me laugh harder before releasing it in a gusty sigh. But he squeezes my arm and lets go at last, to bump shoulders with his sister, who is now rocking back and forth on her heels. I'm glad both of you get to meet properly, too. He sneaks a glance at me, then looks away, colors high on his cheeks. Yui is someone who has made me very happy. Zeli Vedith El? Is that Latin? Or is that demonic tongue? Elaine tilts her head at me, a lock of auburn hair tumbling down her shoulder. She smiles, soft and warm, and I feel a sudden strange understanding and empathy with Amaro's Woodridge. Well, maybe it's only empathy extended to myself, considering my current emotions regarding the Prince of Hell. Speaking of, I've almost forgotten why I came here. I have a question, actually, for the both of you. Identical brown eyes blink at me. They really are twins, even if not human ones. When we were speaking with Aurora last night, she mentioned something. It seems in the last few years, supernatural activity has been at an all-time high in Lunaris. August figured out it was only because of the volume of creatures was increasing faster than the enforcers and our hunters couldn't control them, but we have our doubts. And I know instantly I was correct to doubt, as the air around us seems to shift and change. Omen sucks in a deep breath, his hand going to clutch at the back of his neck, eyes averted. Elaine purses her lips and clasps her hands in front of her, but she keeps her gaze on me. For a moment she's no longer a soft-eyed young woman with large teeth and a pretty smile. For a fraction, of that moment. I perceive her as a thing behind these human details. Something old and seething in immense gazes at me through these eyes. The pressure near crushes my lungs with the force of her presence. Then it dissipates, so fast I could be convinced I was imagining it. And it's because Omen's hand is on her shoulder. No, it's fine. Yui isn't trying to. He trails off. Elaine pats his hand, but slides it off and turns to face me fully. The smile is back, if just a little sharper than before, and she raises a hand. I almost flinch, but all she does is point at my weapon. Can you please remove your hand from that? That's all to ask me after that little display. Elaine inclines her head. You have a point, I suppose, but at the same time, it will do you no good here. She's right, galling, as she would point it out so matter-of-factly, but even as I reluctantly tear my fingers from my weapon, the answer I was seeking strikes me. It was you, wasn't it? You're the reason for the increase in paranormal activity around Lunars. Oh. Oh no. Oh, fucking no. Is it? It isn't her fault, but mine. Oh, what? No, are you kidding me? That's why? But, no. Omen, baby. No. I thought it was the twins doing, like, science experiments. Bruh, no. Omen is still rubbing at the back of his neck as though worrying an old scar. When he meets my gaze, his aura is dimmed, sad. Omen?
Some mortal years ago, I had an argument with my father.
He pauses, mouth moving without sound. Elaine shifts on her feet, where I watch her from the corner of my eye, but she doesn't move. Prince is once again extinguished and kept tightly under control.
It ended in my departure to your realm. He was unhappy with me leaving and tried to prevent me crossing over. I had to go into hiding, and in the journey between, it's possible I might have damaged the boundaries between our worlds. Here in this town.
Oh. And your father isn't planning on making a trip across to get you back, is he? The thought leaves me as cold as much as it makes me want to stare at the ceiling and wonder out loud what exactly this town has done that caused so many fucking problems to become attracted to it, like flies to a bloated corpse. That would just be the thing we need, wouldn't it? Lucifer himself, coming through to give us another slap on the ass. No, he cannot wander so far, not as far as us, and Omen took, measures to stop us from finding him. She gives Omen a look, but he purposely ignores her. My eyes are on the hand that he's still using to rub the back of his neck. I assume it was a nervous habit, but now I am paying close attention. I can see something that looks like it might be a scar snaking up from under his collar. It's difficult to spot, though, as if he's thinking the same thing. Omen yanks his collar up to hide it. Elaine presses close to his side, their shoulders touching. Their tails intertwine briefly, almost a hand squeeze gesture of its own, before she leans away and looks at me. We apologize for the danger that we have brought to this place. It isn't me you should be apologizing to, I think. Omen gives me a pained look, but inclines his head.
You're right. I didn't know the boundaries would be so badly affected by my crossing. By all means, destroying the brand, the markings that allow my father to seek me out, should have been enough. I also hoped the boundaries would heal on their own, as they do. Likely they are, but too slowly. Perhaps.
He trails off, looking at something behind my shoulder. I turn to follow his eyes. Amaros Woodard stares at us from where he's half-peeking from the front door. His eyes widen like a cornered rabbit when he realizes we've noticed. But before I can even open my mouth to reassure him, Elaine makes a gleeful little noise and runs to Amaros. Omen snorts the sound, almost a laugh. I was almost afraid that you don't like him. He kept the news of Elaine's arrival from me. That should be enough for me to resent him. He says that, but his eyes are soft as we look on. Elaine is holding Amaros' hands now. He looks remarkably less afraid, and whatever they are talking about is too low for me to hear, but his smile is bright. Aww. The sweet girl and the shy boy is like one of my favorite ship tropes, so this is cute. As her brother's curls now around mine.
We make our choices about who we love and why. It would be wrong of me to assume that Elaine doesn't have good reasonings with hers. I have mine for my affection for you, after all.
And Alcar. I smile neat towards him, and he leans his head up on my shoulder in return. I would love to hear these reasons from you at some point.
It would take us all day, you know. I have a list.
Oh, right, because you wrote them down in your book. Ooh. An entire day with you? That's the dream. Lemon leans back and smiles at me, his eyes bright.
We'll make time. Soon.
I'm gonna kiss him! Then Omen kisses me. His mouth is hot on mine, but gentle, so gentle. I press into it, unconsciously running my tongue over. Oh! Lord, please forgive me for what I'm about to read. I press into it, unconsciously running my tongue over his sharp teeth, and I would have been tempted to deepen and draw it out, had someone not cleared their throat pointedly behind me. Sorry that we were making out in front of you. How come you two get to be all up in each other's business while I and Amaris have to sneak about the graveyard? Because Omen might have torn up the boundary between worlds, but his sister didn't tear up the entire town's sense of security and safety. That is what I want to say, but I refrain at this point. That's just petty. I nod at Amaros when he glances at me. The way he seems to jump a little before smiling back is almost amusing. Have you come to fetch me, or have you come to fetch Elaine? Neither, actually. I've come to tell you that Aurora will soon be here. I wanted to. He trails off uncertainly. Probably not that sure about betraying his sister's view on things yet, and I'm not sure how much of that I can sympathize with, but after the mess last night, I'm nothing if not glad I don't have to see her again just yet. I have a feeling she would have something galling to say about this whole business that I should also make a report on. I scratch my head, thinking about what exactly would go on the mission report for this entire mess. Just doing so is already causing me a soul-deep pain, but later, when I've actually gotten a chance to unpack everything...
I need to go find Alcar anyway. Our wayward wolf.
Yay! Threesome time! Owen and I share a smile. He leans in and brushes his lips with mine. Will you come with us later? Of course. He threads our fingers together, squeezes them, then releases me, disappearing into the darkness of the dyes. I linger for a moment longer, watching Armaros and Elaine's conversation. Armaros is smiling at something she says, and the last thing I see as I turn away from them is Elaine kissing his cheek. Aww, sweet girl and shy boy. The streets are dead empty when I leave. It's eerie, almost this sudden stillness, as though the town itself is instinctively aware of the wrongness it's experiencing, withdrawing into itself. I wonder truly how much the people know, how much they're willing to know. From what Aurora said, it hasn't always been this way for Linares, but I find it hard to imagine this before. It must have been years ago, according to what she said at August. But all Omen and Elaine have done is confirm that there was an increase in supernatural activity, not what the enforcers here have done to combat it. Nor did their affirmation lend anything to ease the growing dread in me, the one that's been sitting like poison in the back of my mind since I started snooping in August's office for Aya's secret records just a few weeks ago. I'm a general, but I'm still just another hunter in the end. The enforcers, the allies, the support network at my back all account for much more of my success and strength. It dictates how I'm to move, act, think, and now what if I can even trust to hold on to my weight? That I don't know the full truth is nothing new. That I'm the only ever told enough to commit myself to the contract at hand is nothing new. But those deliberate acts of withholding information have always been passed off as an attempt to protect the hunters, and for the most part, that's been true. Not this time, though. This is... The sound of a bird taking flight snaps at me at my thoughts. I shake my head, blink, and look up to the sparse twitching branches of the forest. Somehow my feet may have taken me here, taking me on a path I didn't know I could remember so well. Actually, when I look down at the ground, I see the rock to which Alcar hides his cave. He hasn't bothered to keep the trapdoor concealed. I realized as I walked around it. There the entrance is inviting to all. Thinking about the half-lycan, I doubt that's true, but... Presently, I kneel by it and knock. A long moment passes with no response. Just as I was beginning to feel silly, it's daylight. He's probably in town. It suddenly swings up so fast and nearly hits me in the face. Could you just imagine, like, Alcar just, like opens the door when my face is, like, close to the boulder, like, it's, like, a fucking door, and I just get, like, a fucking concussion. He's like, yeah, pull! Alcar squints up at me with the baleful glare of someone whose sleep has just been interrupted. Judging from his rumpled clothing and messy hair, that's probably true. I feel a pang of guilt. I'm sorry, did I wait? His hand lands heavily on my shoulder, then comes to rest on my neck. He pulls me down, and for a split second I think he's going to kiss me. But he rests our foreheads together instead. That's just as cute. It's only for a moment. It doesn't need to be any longer than that for me to know that he's been missing me. His relief is so thick it's almost tangible. I hear his exhale tremble, and I wrap my arms around his shoulders, tuck his head under my chin, and we cling to each other until Alcar finally squirms free. He gives me a sniff, his nose wrinkled. You alright? I smile at him, running a hand through his hair and trying to work some knots free from the strands. I'm alright, physically. Good. Alcar takes my hand, grips it tightly, and stares at me intently, Then he tugs on it, pulling me into his home. It's the same as before, spacious, homely, even if the cushions and blankets in one corner are evidently a little messy, probably because he was sleeping there. Omen said he might try to find you.
Told him I'd be here, but haven't seen him yet. Which means he probably wants to be alone for a while.
I grimace, remembering Omen's guilt and the Ibeck about the boundary's damage. But Alcar moves over to a small, messy table in one corner and picks up the pewter pitcher there, pouring some sort of liquid into 2 wooden mugs.
Let him gather his thoughts. Omen isn't fragile, you know.
I don't mean to imply that. I accept the drink, drawing in a lungeful of the minty herbal fragrance, recalling the look on his face and how he dealt with Aurora just the night before. You're right. I should be asking you that anyway. How are you doing? Alcar leans his shoulder against me comfortingly. His large tail settles around my waist in what I now realize is a distinctively Omen-inspired gesture. I make my way over to a bench against the far wall. When I sit, Alcar sits with me. His eyes are sharp, and there's an oddly knowing expression on his face. I press our shoulders together, seeking comfort in his company. There's something I have to tell you. Is it a breakup notice? No, God, no. No, I waited too long for this threesome. This is happening. What? No, don't even joke about that. He laughs when I elbow him. Fine, alright, out with it. August bullying you, Piper, like it threw rocks at their houses. No, it's the hunter you attacked. Well, the one whose attack that you were in prison for, I should say. Alcar's wolf's ears immediately flatten to his head. I can see his jaw clench, but he looks straight at me, his red eyes sharp. Yeah? His name is Azazel. We found signs of him in the dungeons. Alcar inhales sharply, then sighs, the relief evident in the drop of his shoulders, but then he raises his eyebrows.
Wait, in the dungeons? The dungeons where they kept me? What did he do?
We don't know, but he was there, and I'm sure that he was at least very alive when you were taken in. Huh, then why did they... I don't know. Alcar snores, and this time it sounds bitter. He gets to his feet and begins to pace, tightening the bandages around his head. Not gonna lie, I read that as he begins to pee, and I thought this was gonna be a very different game. Listen, I know I make a lot of piss jokes, but please let me preface that I'm not into piss. Please, don't think I'm into piss. You keep using past tense. What happened to him? I don't know that either, which is the problem. Alcar pauses and looks at me in disbelief. After a moment, however, he sighs and comes back to sit down at my side again. Guess that's why you're here. To tell you, yes, but also because I wanted to see you. Alcar smirks, a flash of sharp canines and a cock of his head, and I feel a jump in my chest. Thank you.
Your employers sure like to keep shit hush-hush. Figured as much. But thanks for telling me. It's been sitting like a fucking gravestone on my mind since... Well, now I feel pretty fucking bummed out, actually. I can't believe they put me through that shit for something that never even happened.
I'm sorry. This shouldn't have happened at all. They had no right.
They don't need rights. They only needed a reason and the upper hand.
That's the government for you, pal. What's wrong is wrong. He's right. Are you always this pessimistic? I'm gonna... He's right. The better pessimism in Alcar's words sting, but they sting in no worse than thoughts I myself have had in the past. A reason and the upper hand is sometimes all we need, isn't it? A weapon, a reason, and the upper hand. And now my weapon feels heavy at my side. And what are you going to do about all this, Yui? I'll find the truth. That's all I can do, isn't it? No, that's what I must do, now that we've come this far. Then that's all I ask, too. His hands close around my wrist. I raise my eyes from the floor to look up at him. The sheer intensity in which he stares back at me, the sheer sincerity in his eyes almost carries the force of a blow. Will you two just fuck already?